Welcome back to Creating Cooperative Kids. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. We do so much for our children today, providing them with the latest gadgets and opportunities to enjoy life. Then we ask them to help us out, and they avoid the tasks, come up with excuses, or just plain ignore us. This makes us feel resentful, and then we find ourselves getting angry at our children. Leila Luxick and Laura Eldridge, two early childhood professionals with over 30 years of combined experience, are here with me today to help explain how these tools work in the home and in the classroom. Thanks for staying with me. So the two tools that I want to talk about in this session is, first of all, agreements. The funny thing is, what I loved is when we were growing up, how did our parents get agreements? They would say, pick that up, you got it? Or pick that up by 5 o'clock, and they'd walk away. Well, inside, we're not going, okay, gee, let me make time for that. We're going, oh yeah, watch me. And that's what happens with parents and children today. So the first thing that I tell parents is really important about agreements is you want to get the child's time. Avoid walking up to them like our parents did. And again, please, anyone watching, don't be offended. This is not about putting our parents down. They did what they thought they're supposed to do. We just have to realize we have to modernize our discipline toolbox. So approach the child in a respectful way and say, it's now a good time for us to talk. And you can do that in a lot of situations. Then when you get the child's time, you ask for what you want, and then you restate the rule, and then you get the child to repeat the rule. See, no adult has an agreement with a child until the child actually utters the words. Try it with a 13-year-old. Try to get them to repeat the words, and they don't like to do it. Why? Because they lose out on the opportunity to weasel out of doing it. So agreements, whether it's, and again, what's important about agreements is not rules. We just talked about rules. Rules are to help the child discover that this is what life's about. Agreements is more like when you want children to do things that they could have the option of not doing. It's like cooperation. The child can choose to cooperate or not, to feed the dog or pick the toys up, but there's probably going to be some payment afterwards for it. But so agreements is when they have the choice to do it or not. So can you do this in the classroom?
Yes, by all means. I find a lot of teachers actually asking children questions or asking them to do something, so giving them the ability to answer yes or no, or not, choosing not to pick up a toy, or having that choice. So this is what I get my teachers to do, is to actually ask what you want them to, let them know that this is what I need you to pick this up now for me, please. And this is what we do. Instead of would you pick this up, then they can answer yes or no.
Ah, okay, so good, I like that. So what's important about agreements is avoiding the openness of saying yes or no. And you're right, because even parents do that. They'll say, could you please pick up your toys? And the child goes, no. And then the adult goes, oh, yes, you better. Yes. Right? So why did they give them the option to say no in the first place?
Exactly.
So so when you deliver get an agreement from a child, say, I need you to agree to pick up your toys by something. By the time Daddy gets home, by the time it's 5 o'clock, by the time the big hand's on 3, I don't know, something like that. And then, so what are you going to agree to do? And that's where you wait for them to repeat the agreement. So that can be used in a classroom environment. Any examples of where you could use that?
This past year, I've been coming into a lot of the classrooms as a special instructor and doing a project with the whole entire group. And so basically I kind of let them know what we're going to do, and I have them repeat back to me what we're going to do. Okay, and when we're done with the markers, we're going to clean them up. So what are we going to do when we're done with the markers? And then they'll all say, we're going to clean them up. And so inevitably there's always one or two kids who are at the end say, okay, what am I supposed, when they're all done with their project, what am I supposed to do? I'm saying, oh, what did I say we were going to do with the markers when we're all done? Oh, we're going to put them up. We're going to clean them up. Because they'll remember having said it.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to give them a little prompting. But they'll remember that they said it then.
And that's so important. When the human being, whether it's a child or not, when the human being says, I will do that, what happens is the neurons fire in the brain, and we're more likely to actually remember better and follow through and do it. So that's good. All right.